finance director or whatever, they discuss these things. Why aren't we asking what his opinion is on it? And not that I would like to hear from all five of you, but to be quite honest with you, you're volunteers like the rest of us. We're paying him to run the town in the best way that he can. Why aren't some of these things on this Bellicone? I've researched it. I know that in the many years that I've been here working with him and prior town administrators, when I go in and I have an idea, he says, I like the idea, I don't like the idea, I'm not sure, but can you present it to me? I do my homework. I think I do my homework. I go in and I give them every reason why we want it, what it's going to cost, what it's going to cost down the road, just like you were talking about the firemen down the road and everything, what it's going to cost the police when they retire, 10-year plan, 20-year plan, 30-year plan. He's got it. He's got the numbers. He's got the figures. Why aren't we asking Mr. Belliconis what he thinks, you know, so that when he comes to the meeting, I don't want to hear you five all the time. Why can't we ask him sometimes what's his opinion on it? Let him give
Rita,
his
we
opinion.
like to hear ourselves.
Well, let him give the opinion on what he
No
thinks is a
comment,
good
Steve.
idea or bad idea, because we're paying him to come up with that. He's
What?
in the business to be saying, I've looked at the numbers. I think we can save. I think we can't save. I think it's a better idea or not a better idea. And to be honest with you, we just go on, and I can see the frustration in Michael's face. I'm disappointed because he's a rec member too, and we're missing him on rec because he's spending all this time on it. It was very frustrating last week with the tax thing, because he'd come up with an idea, and he's right. We just keep saying, nah, not going to work. Nah, not going to work. And where I work, to be honest with you, you know, I work with 300 people. I used to be a human resource person. I come in with the numbers and say what it's going to cost. You like it, don't want to do it because I don't want to go to Tufts because I don't like Blue Cross. That's the owner's decision. They say that's what I want, nothing I can do about it.
Yeah, we wish we had that, right.
Well, at least we give them the numbers, and I'm saying I don't think we utilize it. Maybe you kids talk every day to them and you know the answer, but to be honest with you, I'd rather hear the guy that we're paying the, you know.
Well, ask him the question.
Oh, your kids should be. I think you need to let the numbers go to him and let him come back and be able to, I guess I'm saying, I'd rather have him make more presentations to us than you kids.
Part of our, but we're like a board of directors, you know, and you should feel fortunate that we're having the discussion here, open and in public session, rather than behind closed doors and making all the decisions like other places do. No, but I mean, before we've tasked him with anything, he's not gonna go off in a certain direction necessarily without the support of the board.
If he can save you some money and come up with the numbers, he should be able to do it.
He has been
He's been doing that anyway, okay?
Yeah, he hasn't been sitting there waiting for us.
Well, he doesn't need to ask your opinion to do it. He should come up with some ideas for you that you think are good ideas, and you back him on some of them, and we can save some money. I'm not saying, yeah, I think you're, I'm not attacking him. I think he has
I
to.
understand.
I think he should be telling you how to do it.
He can, he's welcome to. Jeff,
Yes, the FAC has been coming up with a bunch of ideas, good, bad, or indifferent, but if none of their ideas, just to be devil's advocate, if none of their ideas are accepted, then the question would become, where would the ideas come from? You as a board have even talking about some ideas to bring forward, in addition to what the FAC has been doing, in addition to FinCom has been doing, in addition to what the school comes to do. What are the board of directors going to present as ideas as cost estimates?
I think, number one, we're not quite there yet, but we are working on that issue. But I think if you ask Mr. Belliconis about some ideas that he's already implemented associated with cost savings, he can rattle off a whole list. I mean, there are a lot of things that are going on right now that are actually being implemented. Additionally, there's a number of things that we can't publicly talk about because they're involved with contract negotiations. The one thing that the public seems to forget is that, you know, we have, I think across the entire town school is about 12 unions, is roughly in that number. And, you know, we're obligated under state law to negotiate with those unions. So a lot of the changes, you know, we talked about adding a floater firefighter, and under the contract right now, the chief is obligated to assign that firefighter to a shift, right? Which means that although he has some flexibility dealing with the shift, he can't put that firefighter on another shift without some notice of some period of time, right? So it automatically takes away some of the benefit you might get of one additional individual, which would save some overtime. and save enough to pay for his salary and still have his savings. So I'm using that as an example because it's kind of straightforward, right? Hands are tied without negotiating with the unions to get a change. And guess what? Every time we go forward with the unions, when we want to make a change, they want something in return. And we're in a situation where we don't have much to give in return. So things don't happen quickly, not quick enough for you. But in the background, a lot of these things are going on. Barry? Here's one of our...
My name is Barry Galvin. For those who don't know me, I live at 33 Shady Hill Drive. I'm a firefighter. Been a firefighter here for 15 years.
And a captain now, right?
Yes, and just wanted to touch on a few issues. And the main thing I think we need to head towards as a board and a community is, do we want to save money, or do we want to create a more efficient, safer fire department? Because we're not meeting minimum standards. We're not meeting 2 in, 2 out. Civilian dispatch takes us a step backwards from 2 in, 2 out. Takes us a step backwards from another standard called NFPA 1710, which calls for the arrival of an engine company within 4 minutes. Calls for the arrival of a full first alarm assignment, which would be 12 people in 8 minutes. We don't even come close to meeting that minimum standard today. I was a civilian dispatcher for the town of Danvers for 6.5 years before I started here. I wanted to be a firefighter real bad. So bad, I took a pay cut to come here. The town of Danvers is a very well-run civilian dispatch center, probably one of the best around. But they pay for it. To get a decent person in that job, which is challenging, stressful, and important. And I don't know if I misread the slide earlier, but it sounded to me like we wanted to shift the fire dispatch over to the police department tomorrow and expect that police officer to know how to dispatch fire trucks. And it's just not that easy. Another standard in our NFPA is any fire department dispatch handling over 2,500 calls, which we're at 2,000, we're a little light, should have 2 dispatchers, or 2 call takers. So you add the police department into that, and there are a heck of a lot more than 500 calls. So, and the more important thing is the way we run now and the way we run so short-staffed. We have a member down there, he's on the desk tonight, he had major surgery, he's been on the desk for about 3 months. If we have civilian dispatchers, he's sitting home, and we got an overtime guy filling his slot. So we've saved a bundle of money having our own dispatch. Private ambulance service. We've been down this road before. I also worked for a private ambulance service prior to coming here. They're in the business to make money. They're looking for a community that has nursing homes. We only have one. They make their monies off of transfers, routine transports. They don't make a heck of a lot of money off emergencies, and the people will tell you that. I believe the chief had a number last year of $500,000 or $600,000. What I think we're forgetting tonight in the debate is, are you going to leave 4 firefighter EMTs in the fire station and wait for an ambulance to come that might not be coming from North Reading and have the person wait? You're not. Most communities that have a private ambulance service, the fire truck is going too. So we're closing the doors to the ambulance, we're getting back on the fire truck and going back to the fire station, and we've been tied up for 10 or 15 or 20 minutes. The ambulance is gone, they're getting all the money, and we're getting zilch. And if another call comes in prior to that, guess what? Call back. Benchmarking. I showed up at a back meeting, and I said, you know what, folks? I looked at the communities in your benchmark study. They're apples and oranges and pineapples. We've got communities in here, there's 4 or 5 of them. They aren't staffed 24 hours a day. How can we be benchmarked against fire departments that aren't even staffed 24 hours a day? It said in the comparison that I'm overpaid. So I started calling the fire departments one by one. I started talking to the chiefs, the union presidents. Well, what do you get for this? What do you get for that? I did my own little spreadsheet. We're nowhere near the top. In fact, we're pretty close to the bottom. The reason we haven't argued against that so much in negotiations is we make up for it in overtime. Everybody lives in town. Everybody has relied on that overtime for years. It's no secret. The guys are making almost a second income coming back, but they make themselves available. All to the system, The guys are either gonna be forced to move, or they're gonna be forced to get another job, they're not gonna be available for the callback. Now, in regards to the callback, lost my train of thought here. In regards to the callback, like I said, the members have made the money for years. If you alter the system, the guy's not gonna be available. But we need to come up with an agreement, the town, the selectmen, the union, as to how many people we need to safely operate an efficient fire department. One of the things you have to look at is ALS. We brought it up before. The union, we like to say, well, we have to negotiate everything. Well, the union over a year ago sent a letter to Mr. Balacona, said, we want to negotiate ALS. Get it in the contract, come up with a plan so we can progress someday. Maybe not be tomorrow, but someday we can progress. We can have a plan in place with the state to go ALS. You guys said you weren't interested, so we haven't started negotiating that. We, as a union, I'm not here tonight to speak for the union, but I am a union member. We're ready, willing, and able to negotiate changes in the fire department. And our biggest priority, and my biggest priority as an officer in the fire department, is to make sure that the 4 guys I started with the shift with go home. And what I'm hearing tonight is saving money, maybe adding a guy to cut overtime, but still going out the door with 3 guys. If the 4th guy happens to be on vacation, that's not safe. In fact, that's a step backwards from where we are today. Another golden opportunity, I recently wrote a paper about elder fire safety. The elders in this community, North Reading, the elder population over the next 10 years is supposed to double. What do you people think that's going to do to our ambulance runs? They're going to skyrocket. Here's an opportunity. ALS. North Reading Fire-based ALS will bring in revenue. I'm not saying it's going to completely pay for whatever agreement we come up with, but it'll come close. But if you're here to just save money, I don't think you're going to do it any cheaper than what you're doing right now, because you're only paying us to come back when you need us. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Barry. Steve?
Barry, just, and again, I don't mean to debate it so much, but what I need to see, first of all, we can't effectuate 2 in, 2 out overnight. We can't afford to do it. Dollars and cents won't allow us to do that. Most of what I've heard over the years that's been suggested is going to cost us more money to implement. Everybody's concerned about the firefighter safety. We've been operating this way for years. It doesn't meet the minimum standards. Whoever sets the standards doesn't meet those standards. It's recognized. How would you propose we do that in a cost-effective manner and try and maintain services, not just in the fire department, but across the board? Or what suggestions would be made to effectuate what needs to be done here and maintain what we have over there? How can we do it?
Going ALS.
I haven't seen any numbers yet that have shown us that we can do that. And that's why I've been resistant to it.
Well, I mean, we can't exactly predict how many ALS calls we're going to do next year. We can look at the calls we've done. We can look at the monies that have gone to action, for example. I believe the chief has done that. We can look at the town of Reading. They're making money hand over fist. Linfield, Middleton, they've all gone ALS. And they've been successful, and they've been able to pay and add personnel. Reading is going from...
Excuse me, now Linfield, which you don't want to be compared to, because they don't run a full-service fire department.
They close at 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay, so how could we model ourselves after that? What would we be giving up if we modeled ourselves after that? And maybe that's something that we should be looking at.
I don't think that would be successful here.
Okay, and I don't know why. They're about the same size town.
We do a lot more runs than they do. And also they have a number of people that have been on a long time, and the fire station is more of a clubhouse.